30 seconds.
Thank you, Les. Minister, the pandemic has highlighted the importance of good, reliable broadband to ensure that all citizens in all parts of Ireland can avail of remote working, education and other essential online services. So the question I have is, can you outline the plans on the fast tracking of the National Broadband Plan, and can you make a statement on it, please?
Thank you very much indeed, Deputy. The COVID pandemic has highlighted the importance of good, reliable broadband to ensure the citizen.
Thanks.
Well, what I might do then is, if I can say to you more specifically, if I can bring it back locally, in terms of in County Wexford, and I'll happily put the rest of the reply on record, Cathaoirleach, if that is because for the benefit of other deputies. The National Broadband Plan is looking to accelerate the development of this scheme. It has been delayed somewhat, again, as I said in my previous reply, in the rolling out of COVID, due to the COVID. Part of the difficulty getting contractors, some of the contractors from the UK haven't been able to come over, and the ability to get workers in a safe environment to be able to carry out the work. But there is extensive plans now to accelerate it, to bring it back to your own county, Deputy. In Waterford, there's some 22,000 households out of the 82,900 premises in Wexford which are in the AMB area, which will be provided for high-speed broadband through the state-led intervention. Over 3,745 of those premises have already been surveyed to date in the county, and that's the process where people will go out to actually map out exactly which poles, what's the infrastructure in the local area that could be used. I have a whole range of areas I could list out, townlands that are currently in that, have been surveyed in that way. You will also be aware that part of the plan there is the development of broadband connection points as the first phase. That's the fast tracking immediately of the delivery of services. And in relation to Wexford County, there are 5 sites located, have been identified in Hookhead Lighthouse, Ballyfad Community Centre, Askamore Childcare Centre, Marshallstown GA Club and St Mary's GA Club. 4 of those have already been connected and have been installed as part of the National Broadband Plan and will be connected by the retail service provider shortly.
I'm just going to ask for your cooperation so we can get through the questions with as many TVs as possible. Yes, you have to.
Thank you, Minister. And as I said, I did receive your written response, but however, I did find the answers were vague on timelines, vague on the worst affected areas, which I could name many townslands also in Wexford. But when a statement like explore the feasibility of accelerating aspects of the National Broadband Plan rollout, or the possibility of bringing forward premises currently scheduled for year 6 or 7 to an earlier date, those words mean one thing to me, and that is that it will never happen. I have children who have been left who will be left the education system by the time we look at year 6 or 7. And I'd ask, how does the government propose to tell colleges on one hand that they should educate the children at home to safeguard them from COVID when they don't even have the e-learning facilities to do so? I think, it's devastating to their educational outcome. Also, there was a report carried today in a local Wexford website, Wexford Today, saying that 51% of those working from home have experienced technical issues due to poor quality broadband.
Thank you, Deputy. Minister, 1 minute.
Well, first, the Deputy is right. The reason why we're looking to accelerate, exploring with the national broadband operators is because the COVID pandemic showed that the importance of remote working and the urgency of us providing that at this time. We are looking at the acceleration aspects of the plan. It is scheduled, and that's after several years of preparation for it to be a 6- and 7-year process. But those discussions are very serious and are being committed to on the basis of us wanting to see it accelerated. But it does require detailed technical, commercial and financial analysis. You can't, I mean, if it was easy in the first place, it wouldn't have been set out as a 6- or 7-year contract. It will require a lot of analysis to accelerate any elements of it. and I won't promise that until we know that it can be delivered in real time. And itself has been, the COVID pandemic itself has created difficulties in terms of getting access to the contractors who would do the actual work. So it brings both the imperative to accelerate, but also difficulties in that regard at the same time.
Deputy, 1 minute.
Rural Ireland to stay there, and if 51% are saying that they're being impeded working at home, that's a huge problem. I'd also say that in the written response it said the pandemic has had an impact on the delivery of the fibre network. So you've explained that that's because you can't get people to install it. They can't travel from England. People are beginning to see that excuse as worse than GDPR. There are 3 sets of excuses now being used, particularly when it comes to government contracts. GDPR, COVID and Brexit will be the next one, I assume. Now, I'd also say that any changes that are proposed will require detailed technical, commercial and financial analysis. What I'd ask you to include are the cost to those who require broadband not having it, a business who may be trying to complete customs documentation for Brexit, or a student who may feel their life hangs in the balance if they can't receive online tuition. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Councillor.
That's the very reason. Those needs are the reason why the state is putting this money into this project. It is, we had differences in this House in terms of how it should be delivered, what the exact contract arrangements were. But I didn't hear, and I certainly in my role in opposition was always supportive of the need for the plan at significant cost, but I believe it's worthwhile. The excuses you mentioned in terms of COVID, I'm afraid, were reality. We all know that the working world did, in many instances, come to a halt because protecting workers' safety came first. And that isn't an excuse, that was just a reality. But the commitment and the desire to meet the objectives of the National Broadband Plan are absolutely concrete, clear. And the desire to try and accelerate it, in part because of what has happened in COVID and the importance of having connectivity for people remote working, is very real. And I'll commit to do everything I can to try and do that in Wexford and everywhere else.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister.